businesses, upcoming events, Conroe Park events, news stories, and information that matters to you with your host, Marcey Taylor of Taylorized PR. For more information about being a guest, visit irlonestar.com/Conroe Culture.
Thank you for listening to Lone Star Community Radio. This program was broadcasted and recorded live from the LSCR studios in downtown Conroe, Texas. Lone Star Community Radio is supported by listeners like you. Donate and sponsor today. For more information on getting involved with Lone Star Community Radio, contact us at lscrstudios@gmail.com or visit us online at www.irlonestar.com.
Welcome to Veterans Era, the Veterans Hour. I am your host, Douglas B. You can listen to live broadcasts, or new broadcasts rather, the first Tuesday of every month at 1 p.m. here on your Lone Star Community Radio. You also can listen to us on veteransair.us, Conroe FM 106.1 and 104.5, Facebook Live, YouTube, our City TV, and wherever you get your fine podcasts. As always, a little housekeeping before we get started today. You can contact Veterans Air through the website at www.veteransair.us. Leave us a message, or better yet, contact us in the studio on our Google phone, 936-344-3083. On today's show, returning back to the studio, is VFW 4709 Commander Marcey Phillips and my girlfriend, Benyé. Her service dog. Welcome, Marcey. Welcome, Benyé.
Thank you for having us.
The title of today's show is Life, Death, Honor, and Duty. And these are words that mean a lot to the veteran community. Veterans, as a generalization, look at life and death differently than others. As we approach Easter and springtime and my upcoming trip back to Arlington National Cemetery, I want to talk about life, death, honor, and duty just for a moment. For a veteran, especially a combat veteran, life, death, honor, and duty are intertwined because we can't think of one without thinking of the others. For a veteran, we're always conscious of how close death just truly is. That's because we are also cognitive of how precious life is. We understand what honor and duty are, and we pay homage to our fallen comrades. It has been said that veterans are a cold, uncaring group when it comes to death, but that's not true. For most of us, we've spent a life defending life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And we've done this through our honor and duty. When we lose a comrade, whether we knew them or not, each passing cuts our heart. Sure, we have the attitude that though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil because I am the baddest mofo in the valley. But that's only because we know that death is always walking close by us, just waiting for us to stumble. When we lose a comrade, we are duty and honor bound to show homage to their passing. There is no greater calling, no higher medal, nothing more sacred than the duty to lay our comrades to rest. Now, I'm heading back to Arlington on the 21st of April. I'm going there to visit the finding resting places of my dear friends Diana Marie and Colonel Omfroy. My honor and duty require nothing less of me. Every one of my brothers in arms that I lay to rest steals a little bit of my soul. I think this is true of most veterans. It steals a little bit of my compassion. And I think when death comes for me, as he will come for all men, he better come prepared. Because when death comes for me, I'm ready to fight. When death comes for me, I'll be smelling of cigarettes, bacon, and bourbon, fighting like the devil himself, and telling death, listen up, little blankety blank, while I give him the knife hand. So, life, death, honor, and duty are ingrained into every veteran, regardless of who he or she is. And the way we choose to live our life is tempered by our knowledge of life, death, honor, and duty. These are my thoughts. What are yours? Marcey, welcome back to the show.
Thank you very much for having me, Douglas.
We're going to talk about life, death, honor, and duty. And I hope you can do so without swearing this time.
I will. I was just thinking that. You're so good at censoring yourself. I, on the other hand, rely on Dick to help me with that. So, Dick, get your finger ready. I will try really hard not to do any swearing today.
One of the things that every veteran knows, that when he dies, his comrades are going to field an honor guard not for him or her, but for the family. If, for whatever reason that you're listening to this show, if you've never seen an honor guard do the ceremony, if you've never been to Arlington and watched the changing of the guards, if you've never stood in Houston's VA cemetery and looked at the rows and rows and rows of markers upon which veterans rest under, you can't understand the duty involved in laying a veteran to rest. It is both a duty and an honor to serve on the honor guard. Now, here in Conroe, we have what we call the combined honor guard. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. So the VFW Post 4709 Honor Guard is comprised of members who are honorably discharged veterans from the VFW Post here in Conroe, the VFW Post 12213 out of Magnolia, and American Legion Post 411 out of Conroe. That combined honor guard is one that allows us to fulfill the requests that come in a lot more easily than if it were just the post members alone. So all honorably discharged veterans, regardless of your affiliation with a VFW post or American Legion post, are eligible to serve on the honor guard at VFW Post 4709.
But wait a second. They don't need to be a member of the VFW or American Legion.
Correct.
To have an honor guard ceremony, as long as they're an honorably discharged veteran.
Well, I'm not talking about to have the ceremony. I'm talking about to serve on the honor guard. To serve on the honor guard, they only need to be an honorably discharged veteran. So it's the same regardless of affiliation. If you are not a member of our post, but you want to serve on our honor guard, then there's a brief interview process that we would go through with the team and everything and find out what your background is, make sure that you're honorably discharged like you say you are, because believe it or not, people don't always tell the truth. Then I know, right?
Say it ain't true.
I know everything on the internet's true, but other than that, we do have some times where people don't tell the truth. So we do need to make sure that we cross, all of our T's and dot all of our I's. And then if that person is available and willing to serve, then we do outfit them with a uniform to be able to go and serve with our honor guard. They're not going to be added to our insurance and drive our van or anything if they're not a member, but other than that, they are willing, and able to serve with us. We would greatly appreciate them helping us out in that respect so that we can properly honor all honorably discharged veterans who are eligible for military honors when they pass away.
So the VFW provides the uniform?
Yes,
That's awesome because those uniforms are expensive.
correct. They are not cheap at all. The cap alone is almost $100. The uniform itself, whenever we fully outfit someone with the summer and winter version, as well as the jacket and everything, it's almost $600 between shoes and whole 9 yards. So it's expensive, but it's worth it to provide that service for that family of that veteran that served honorably.
And we need members of the Honor Guard?
We definitely need members of the Honor Guard. It gets hard. In every organization, you find that, you have X number of people that are members, and then you have, Y number of people that actually show up and help. And the Honor Guard is an even smaller Z number of veterans that actually goes. And for example, myself, as soon as I hear taps sounded, I start bawling. I'm not the person that can say on behalf of the President of the United States, I can't hand the flag over to the family. I cannot maintain my composure because I'm too empathetic. And,
Now,
I might be tough on the outside, Doug, but I've got a heart and I have a really hard time
I find
serving that
difficult to
capacity.
believe. I really do. I just happen to know from experience that for the family of a fallen veteran, there are two ways that our Honor Guard becomes notified. One is through the funeral home itself. And most of the posts, ours, the American Legion, whatnot, we're very connected with the local funeral homes. So they know to call us as soon as they get a veteran. But not everybody goes through a funeral home.
Correct.
They can still, at their ceremony, their remembrance of life, whatever you want to call it, they can still have an honor guard.
Correct.
And all they need to do is go to vfw4709.org and click Request Honors.
Yes, sir.
Fill out that form.
Yes, sir.
And a lot of people fill out that form.
Yes.
I know this because I'm the webmaster and I get a tickle every time somebody fills out the form.
Right.
And I've seen our honor guard at work. I want to give shout out to Kelly and Art and the rest of the guys and gals out there. They do a awesome job. And like you, I can't hear taps without stopping and becoming emotional over it. I think that's true for most veterans that have served for a while. Most military that served for a while. The honor guard is a hard duty to perform. It is. Because these guys and these men and women that serve on the honor guard, they spend a lot of time practicing.
Yes, they do.
They do. And have you been to Arlington?
I have.
You've been to the tomb? And you know how sharp these guys are.
Yes.
As you know, I've laid one of our members to rest, and
Yes.
recently my colonel. The honor guard that Arlington fields, the old guard, these guys are sharp. And I don't understand, I can't comprehend how they can do this day after day after day, laying their comrades to rest. Getting back to our honor guard, the post will supply the uniform.
Correct.
At no cost to the person.
Correct.
To the member. Is that dependent upon what post they're in?
No. If the person is brought onto our honor guard, whether they're an American Legion 411 member or the VFW in Magnolia. Like I said, we have a member of our honor guard from the Magnolia VFW.
Who's that?
Jim Russell.
Oh,
He's also our district chaplain. But he serves from, so he does a lot in the Tomball Magnolia area. And so a lot of times if they need a single person to, sound taps or something like that, or if, because he is an actual chaplain, he gets brought in to actually perform ceremonies quite a bit. So it's pulled our honor guard in that direction somewhat, which is great. We do a 50-mile radius pretty much from the post. We'll kind of serve anywhere within that 50-mile radius for the most part. And it allows us to expand our honor guard because, like I said, you have a very small number of people that volunteer to serve. And so if we need to bring in someone from outside of our post, any honorably discharged veteran can serve on our honor guard, but they would need to meet with the commander and meet with the honor guard captain in order to go through the process to be, brought onto the team. So,
yeah, I know you've heard this story before, but when my father passed, he was in mid-southern New Jersey. I called around to Fort Dix, to the American Legion, to the VFW, trying to get him an honor guard because my father honorably served. The VFW and the American Legion there in his area could not field an honor guard, could not get people together to lay a soldier to rest. And I was talking with my brother Johnny, as you all know, up there on the Canadian border in Fort Drum, and I was just commensurating how I couldn't lay my father to rest with honors. His funeral was New Year's Eve day. Brother Johnny got a full detail together in their dress blues, drove from Watertown, New York, to Toms River, to Bayville, New Jersey, which, by the way, is a 12 to 14-hour trip, in a military van, buried my father with honors, and drove back the next day. That's honor. That's duty. Most of us, through our military career, have had the honor to have served on an honor guard. But our honor guard is a bit more than that. We also have a color guard, don't we?
We do. And we also, our color guard also provides education for children and a lot of other, flag etiquette classes and things like that. We provide a more well-rounded opportunity to explain what do the colors of the flag mean? What does the Pledge of Allegiance mean? Children today need a foundation of patriotism in order for us to have a society that understands when the draft was had, we don't want to go back to that. We want to have an all-volunteer force. We want to instill patriotism and have a foundation of knowledge and have, children that grow up to love our country enough to want to serve it, not to be forced to serve it. And there is a very big difference. And if you can help instill that foundation, even just going to the daycare, there's a local daycare here, Primrose School of Conroe. We partner with them on a lot of different events. We go in and teach the kids what the Buddy Poppy means, how it's a remembrance flower. And when you see one, you need to think about all the veterans that have served our country. What does a veteran mean? All of those things. We take the Pledge of Allegiance and we break it down. What's a pledge? A pledge is a promise. What does allegiance mean? And we break down every single word and we gear it towards whatever age group they're asking us to be at. We teach the 13 folds of the flag, all types of different education, and all of that can be requested right there at the same tab where you can request the honor guard. You just click the box for color guard instead, and then there's a little menu where you can say what all you want taught. So our color guard and our honor guard overlap, and a lot of them do both, not just honor guard or not just color guard. But there are some people that, like, for example, Jim McDermott. Jim is a jack of all trades, so you can't really compare Jim to anyone else in this whole wide world. He's amazing. He's also our yogi. We have yoga classes Tuesdays and Thursdays from 11 to noon. And Jim is 76 years old and teaches yoga. He's amazing.
I know, and it's sickening, isn't it?
It is, but it's amazing. You should hear him do the 13 folds of the U.S. flag from memory with, so much poise, and there's so much grace and honor in the way that he says every single line of that ceremony that you just sit there with chills, even if you've heard it 20 times before, because you feel that sense of patriotism exuding from him when he says it. And it's just a beautiful thing. I absolutely love when Jim does the 13 folds. But that's one of the many things that our Honor Guard does. They do flag presentation ceremonies. They just partnered with the Heritage Museum at their 250th anniversary of, which one was it? I can't even remember. I'm going to get it wrong. But they just partnered at that event last weekend. I'm trying to think what all they've done lately. They just stay busy. They stay very busy.
So you can contact the VFW or the American Legion or whatnot and say, look, I'm having this event and I would like to have posting of the colors. That's something that our color guard would perform?
It is. I would prefer them requested online instead of calling the post for it. Because if you call the post, you're going to end up getting whoever answers the phone that day, and then they'll tell you, go to the website. So it's just easier if you go straight to the website.
VFW4709.org. Look at the menu bar. You'll see Request Honors. Fill out the form. It'll get to the person or persons it needs to get to, I promise you. We're going to talk more about the what the ceremony is and the importance of it. But I have to do my shout-outs, otherwise I'm going to forget. Especially since Darlene just texted me or just called me and I hung up on her. I got to give a shout-out to our sponsors because this show couldn't happen without them, and of course without Dick, our tireless engineer. Let me give a shout out to East Meets West Productions, which is a full-service business and marketing consulting firm helping veterans start and fund their businesses for over 32 years. For more information, call 361-904-0044 and tell them you heard about them from Veterans Air. Love EMW. They actually pay me my salary while I'm sitting here talking to y'all. And I want to also give a shout out to bitterglitter.us. That's their website, bitterglitter.us. They're creating motivational products supporting the veteran community. They do a lot of good work. 100% of their profits go back to VSOs or as direct grants to veterans in need. You can check out Bitter Glitter at www.bitterglitter.us. There's a new shirt out there that some of you may like, some of you may not. It says Guantanamo Bay Surf Club and Day Spa. I'm going to get that as a Razorback just for you. No,
thanks.
I'm going to get one for Benet.
There you go.
I'm going to get one for Benet. Love you, sweetie.
You just made her wake up. Way to go.
She hears it yours and yours. Let's talk about what happens when the funeral home or the veteran's family requests the Honor Guard. What do these guys actually do? And why do they do it? There's symbolism behind everything that an Honor Guard does. A lot of people don't understand that the ceremony is not only tradition, but there's symbolism associated with that. Can you talk about that for a little bit?
I can't go into a ton of detail on all of it, but one of the things.
It's okay if you screw up, I'll correct.
I was going to say Doug should go into all of the detail on it. But one of the things that our Honor Guard does you alluded to the amount of practice that goes into it, the amount of time and everything. Our honor guard spends a ton of time cleaning weapons, getting ready for gun salutes. So there's a common misconception. You'll hear people and they'll call and they'll go, I need a 21 gun salute for my father. Well, we don't have 21 people with 21 guns that are going to come out there. And then they get a little upset sometimes that we don't have 21 people standing there with guns. That's not what a 21 gun salute is, not what happens at funerals. There's a common misconception there. But the rifle volley is fired. There are 3 volleys that are fired for the veteran. Our honor guard spends tons of time on weapons maintenance, on we do give people shells, but you don't get the shells that were actually fired that day because we give you shined, beautiful, pristine shells that are given to everybody. We give, our honor guard takes time to give you a star from an American flag that can be given out to a family member to help remind them of the flag that was draped over your loved one's coffin. And it has a little saying in it that can be given out to several family members, because there's only one flag, only given to the next of kin, but there's multiple family members there. So oftentimes it's important for them to have a piece, a reminder of that loved one's funeral with them. Our honor guard goes above and beyond to provide additional details. It's not just, hey, let's get out there, let's fold a flag, and then let's head on home. There's a lot more to it. They practice reciting the exact verbiage when handing the flag over to the family member. They practice it over and over and over again. Someone on the team meets with the funeral director prior to and goes over which next of kin is getting the flag, how all of that's going to be orchestrated to make sure that everything moves as smoothly as possible for the family, so that they have a positive memory of one of the toughest days in their lives. So.
I'm glad you brought up the 21 gun salute, because there is a whole bunch of misconception in that.
Yeah.
There is a 21 gun salute.
There is.
But it's reserved for the president.
It is, yeah. Since your loved one's not the president of the United States, they're not going to have 21 guns.
Yeah, he's the only one that gets a 21 gun salute. Everybody else gets a 3 volley.
3 volley.
And that's a big misconception. And I've seen it. I've been to funerals where family members or attendees go, I thought they were going to do a 21 gun salute.
Right.
No, it's 3 volleys.
Right.
When we took Diana Marie out to Washington to have her interned, I spoke with the captain of the Honor Guard, and I explained how many family members we had there, because she had a screwed up family. And as you said, can't give them the expended rounds.
Right.
But the captain made an exception and gave Diana Marie's husband and myself an expended round. And I hold that dearly. It's, sitting up on my shelf. When the guard stands there on either side of the coffin and starts folding the flag, a lot of people don't recognize. They know, the flag's got to be in a triangle, and they don't understand the practice that goes in to folding that flag. And that flag on the coffin is not the same size as the flag that you have flying, hopefully, out in front of your house, is it?
No, it is definitely not. And it's not just the folder that has to do a lot of practice. It's the holder, too. The person that holds, there's a certain way to hold the end of the flag to help prevent it so that it doesn't get off center, and so that it tucks properly and you have a good finished product. And then there's the inspection afterwards, because they will unfold and refold that flag if it is not correct.
It takes a lot of practice to fold a flag. Since we're speaking of flags, I'm going to put this out, that if you have an unserviceable flag, if you do, please
Bring
bring
it
it
to
by the
us.
VFW. We do dispose of the flags properly on Flag Day. We're gonna do it twice this year, right?
We have already done it twice.
did?
Yes. So we did one kind of mid-year, and then we'll do it again in June. We also the burning of the flag for retiring is not healthy to do with all of the nylon and polyester flags. So there's a different way to retire the nylon and polyester flags, and we do that throughout the year. But those are not supposed to be burned. They're not good for the environment. They're not good for all of us standing around the pit getting, smoke inhalation issues. And the VA doesn't want to pay for that on top of all the other stuff they have to pay for. So we do retire those differently. But we will retire nylon, polyester, cotton, you name it, you bring it, we'll take care of it for you.
Now, for those of us that disassemble the flag, because the flag has to be disassembled before it can be retired, whether it be burned or buried or whatnot. So if you have an unserviceable flag and you feel so inclined, please disassemble it, which is cutting out the blue field, cutting out the stripes and bring it over. It just helps us out because it takes a lot. We dispose of a lot.
A lot of flags.
A lot of flags.
I mean, I am grateful that we do have that opportunity. And, I tell everyone they're volunteers, but we do have some people on community service that help out at the post, whether it's through the municipal courts or the county courts. And that's one of the things that we do. And on all of the younger people that come to us, I'll sit there and I'll be like, do you know what the red in the flag means? We'll go through it and we'll kind of have all of those little discussions. And so these poor kids are probably like, dang, all I did was steal a pack of gum and I got to learn all this stuff. I don't care. If you're there, you're on my time and I'm going to put you to work and you're going to learn something. Poor kids.
When you request honors for a fallen veteran, are posting those colors part of those honors that are given?
We do not post colors at the same time that we provide funeral honors. They are separate services.
But if I'm a civic group and I'm having a meeting or whatnot, I can contact the VFW through the website
Yes.
and say, I'd like to have colors posted.
Definitely. And as long as it fits in our schedule, we get enough volunteers, we'll make it happen.
So give us a little time. Don't spring it on the day beforehand.
Oh, please don't spring it on the day beforehand. We have made that work. I will say we will scramble as much as we can scramble, especially on a funeral. With 40,000 veterans in Montgomery County and only 2 honor guards in the entire county, we are both running in a million directions. And I will say ours is the only all-volunteer honor guard. These people are compensated in love. That's about the only thing that they get, that and their dry cleaning's paid for.
And a free drink.
And I was going to say, we do give them a free drink afterwards, soda, whatever, water. We do take care of our honor guard in that manner, but we do not pay our honor guard. So people that request the honor guard, whether it's for colors to be posted in an event or it's for a funeral, it doesn't matter. Either way, those people are not paid. They are there on their own free time, choosing to be there to help your loved one's funeral or your event to go off without a hitch. And there's a ton of time and energy that goes into getting it right. But the other thing is, we are very blessed with a community that does oftentimes give an honorarium to our honor guard. That is very helpful to the post because we have a van that they utilize to get from point A to point B for those funerals and events. And that helps to pay all of the upkeep on the van, the insurance, gas, you name it, new tires, as well as all the uniforms and everything.
I was going to bring that up. The honor guard comes out, buries your loved one, and you would give an honorarium to the honor guard. What
It's not required,
It's
but it
not.
is greatly
It's not
appreciated.
greatly appreciated. And some people may think that they're paying the honor guard for their service. And there can be nothing further from the truth with that.
Right.
They're not. That money is collected and it is used to continue the tradition of having an honor guard,
Right.
of getting them from point A to point B. Because that van is expensive to run. And the insurance is like, I know we just redid the
Ridiculous,
insurance.
right?
That's ridiculous. That's freaking ridiculous. It really
I know.
is. And
That will make me want to cuss, so watch out on that button. No, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding.
And as you said, the post pays for the uniforms, which aren't cheap. And they
Right.
also pay for the dry cleaning of those uniforms,
Right.
which isn't cheap.
Right. And alterations if needed. Because I don't know about
Yeah, we'd
y'all,
have
but
to have an extra large for me.
right.
Most of the veterans listening to this show have had the honor of and duty of serving on an honor guard. So they can appreciate what goes into it.
Right.
But we have a lot of listeners. Well, not a lot. We have 6 listeners. And some of those listeners may not have ever seen seen an honor guard and what it takes, or may not be as in tune with life, death, honor, and duty as a veteran would be. So I'm going to give a plug out here to actor Kevin Bacon. He has a movie out. It's a couple of years old by now, and you can find
That's
it on the streaming
good.
service. Well, Taking Chance.
Yes.
And if you have not seen this, I encourage you to go on the streaming service of your choice and type in Taking Chance, Kevin Bacon, and watch this movie.
It
And
is
you will-
very, very good.
very poignant.
Yes.
You will walk away with a greater understanding of what it means to a veteran to lay a comrade to rest. It is a sacred honor to accompany the remains of a fallen soldier back home to his final resting place. A sacred honor to do that. And what a lot of people don't understand is you volunteer for that.
Right.
You see them from all different services, from all different ranks, from enlisted all the way up to colonels, brigadier generals, and whatnot, escorting remains home. And some people may think that, oh, well, this person escorted him because, he's a colonel. No. You volunteer to do that.
Right.
So watching this movie makes you walk away with a greater understanding of how the veterans and the honor guard specifically take their honor and duty to do
Right.
it, and how that I don't want to say simple, but the simple duty of serving on an honor guard, how doing that affects each person of that honor guard. Now, I've said this to you many times. If I was healthy, I would serve on the honor guard. I would. As my viewers know, I will help any family have their loved one interned wherever they want to be interned. I'll take care of it if your funeral director doesn't. I will. Because it's my duty to do so.
Well, you do serve the honor guard as our webmaster in creating that form for us, making sure that when that family or when that funeral director reaches out to us, you are a very integral piece of that puzzle to make sure that there's continuity and communication. Because if it weren't for you setting all of that up, then if we change honor guard captains again, then it's like, oh, you have to let every funeral home know, okay, this phone number changed, it's a new person. No, we don't have to do all that. We've created continuity and communication through you and your talent and technology and everything you've brought to the table. That has created so much more efficiency in our honor guard that we didn't have before. So I appreciate that very, very much. I also want to shout out Kelly Glass. She is amazing. She's our honor guard captain. She's also my bestie, so I'm a little bit partial. Like
Past commander.
past post commander. She's amazing, but she's also our state honor guard for the entire Department of Texas. She's our state honor guard captain. So she helps with presentations of colors and all kinds of things throughout the state of Texas. She was just up in Fort Worth a couple weekends ago opening a new Texas veterans home in honor of the Tuskegee Airmen. So I'm very proud of her. She does an excellent job at, she just excels, but she truly is a servant leader whenever it comes to the honor guard and the color guard, making sure that everything is taken care of and everything goes off without a hitch, and that family walks away knowing that that duty and honor was done for their loved one in honor of their service and sacrifice, and that family can go to bed at night not worrying about it. So
Dick,
thank
I have
you,
about
Kelly.
10 minutes left. I wanted to talk briefly about the role that a veteran service organization, whether it be the VFW, the American Legion, the DAV, whatever you want, the role that these organizations play in a veteran's life. Now, some veterans may have been like me when they got out, 10 foot tall and bulletproof, and I don't need anybody there.
Same.
I'm gonna grab that brass ring and I'm gonna make it squeal. But as I aged and as I became more disabled, and as I chased after my dreams as a civilian, I realized that at one point that I'm missing something. I'm missing something that I didn't even know that I needed.
Right.
Now, I hear from a lot of veterans. Great veteran story, great military stories, and really, really bad ones. It's like, oh my God, you should have been my soldier. That would have never happened to you. But all of them, regardless of good military service or bad military service, they come to the realization sooner or later that they're missing something. And that something that they're missing is having somebody. Now, we have our wives, our brothers, our sisters, our mothers, our daughters, our aunts and uncles, our besties. We all have them, or hopefully we all have them. But sometimes that's not enough. Sometimes you can't articulate to an individual the way that you feel. Now, I make a living speaking. So while I don't have a exemplary vocabulary, I believe I can make my feelings known. Not everybody can do so.
Right.
Because what something means to us may not mean the same thing to somebody that hasn't had the same experiences.
Right. I think a lot of times we struggle to advocate for ourselves because we feel like we speak a different language. So, and even amongst different branches. For example, whenever I hear people from the Navy talking about stuff, sometimes I'm like, oh, what? I have no clue what you're talking about. I wasn't in the Navy. I prefer land, and that's fine.
So
But-
here's the question. Poncho liner or?
Whoopee?
Okay.
It's a whoopee all
just
day
making
long.
sure
100%.
Now everybody knows you're Army now.
So exactly. And I was going to say that's an Army thing. And so I had a spouse. Well, I had a veteran come into my office not long ago, and without going into too much detail, long story short, needed some help. The wife comes in a little while later and she's like, I filed for divorce today. I'm done with this. And I was like, whoa, okay. May I ask what's going on? He just doesn't tell me anything. What are you expecting him to tell you? Well, he should tell me why he's feeling this way and this and this and this and this. So I had to explain to her that we speak a different language and that sometimes it's harder for us to explain every single acronym and what it means. Whenever we could sit down at the VFW or the American Legion or DAV or wherever, we can sit down and talk to someone and speak the same language and they get it. I don't have to tell that and translate that language to something you'll understand. You will never understand it because you never experienced it.
And that's not their fault.
There's nothing wrong with that. And that's exactly what I told her. There's nothing wrong with the fact that you will not understand it, but that doesn't mean he has to tell you all of it. As long as he's talking to someone about it. And I explained, he came in here asking for resources for counseling. What? Yeah, he's trying. He's trying. I understand, and I'm not siding with one or the other. I could care less. I will help you guys however I can help you guys. But he is trying to get help. He's trying to learn how to communicate. We were trained differently. We were broken down into a very small, fraction of who we originally were into something different. And part of that something different was hiding how we feel, was drink water and drive on, take an ibuprofen. Yeah.
Change your socks.
And none of that had to do with make sure you tell your wife why you're upset today. Nothing. We got back from deployment and it was make sure you say no to all these questions or they'll hold you.
Now, for me, I think that is the most important thing that a veteran service organization provides to their members. Not helping you get your benefits, not helping you get counseling, not helping you get your educational GI Bill or whatnot. No. The most important thing is caring for each other.
Right.
Knowing that there is somebody there that you can talk whatever the way you want to talk and that person's going to get it.
Right. We also, the macro side of what a veteran service organization does, like the VFW, I'm only going to talk VFW right now. The macro side of it is the advocacy. Even if you join the VFW and you never set foot in that post for the first, 5-10 years, whatever, you become a life member, you don't need us. It's not that season of your life yet, right? You don't need the VFW. You're better than that. You're 10 foot tall and bulletproof. That's cool. Your membership is helping me whenever I go to DC and I knock on all these congressmen's doors and I say, hey, here's our legislative goals and priorities. I need your help on the Richard Starr Act. I need your help on this and this and this and this and this. All of these things, I can go in and say, we have a membership of X amount. If you don't have that membership and that membership number is lower, they don't listen.
I want to interrupt you here for a second because, Commander Phillips, you failed.
I always fail.
What the hell happened
I get
with
back up.
SB3?
I have not failed. I have a meeting tomorrow.
Okay.
Don't get me started on SB3.
Okay.
That's a state issue, and I will be happy to speak to
If you need me to
anyone
go
on
and
that
front
one.
punch somebody, let me know because I'll be right there.
I have a meeting in my office tomorrow for at least an hour on SB3 alone. That's a whole nother ball game. And Representative Metcalf, if you'd like to talk, I'll be happy to speak with you as well. Senator Creighton, anybody, feel free to give me a call.
Yeah, guys, what the hell happened out there? It's like.
No, we fully anticipated with a low bill number, high priority bill like SB3, we fully anticipated it to get through the Senate. That's not surprising. What's disappointing is that only one committee member sat in on the testimony. That's a whole nother ballgame. But SB3, for those who don't know, is a Texas bill to ban hemp derivatives in the state of Texas. What that means is hemp derivatives like CBD, anything that has
Delta 8,
Delta 9, all of it, any THC. I mean, for example, I have a roll-on that I use that's a hemp derivative roll-on for my knees, my feet, my back, my everything. I use this thing religiously. Well, if this thing completely passes and becomes law, I'm going to have to drive to Colorado and pray I don't get pulled over on the way back.
We're going to have a lot of people self-medicating with alcohol.
I was going to say, the problem is people don't realize what that ban will do to the veteran community because it will completely change. The opioid crisis will be through the roof. There are no alternatives to treatments because all of these narcotics are incorrectly classified. Why would ibogaine be a Schedule 1 drug?
Let me interrupt you
Don't
here
get me
because
started.
we're running
I know.
short.
That's a whole nother show.
That is a whole nother show.
It is a
Maybe-
whole nother
maybe
show.
we'll
Let's do
that.
it.
Am I close? Do I need to wrap up? Dick's saying yes. Please wrap it up. Okay,
Let's go.
so we're gonna wrap it up. Marcy, thank you for being here. Maybe we'll
Thank
come
you.
back and we'll do a whole show on SB3 to see
Let's
what
do it.
happens after the meeting. Because as you know, I was out traveling for the past 2 weeks and talking to veterans throughout the state, and everybody's pretty much fired up.
Oh, it's fired up a lot of people.
It's going to cause problems. So I have some happenings that I want to get to. April 19th, there's a blood drive at the VFW Post.
Yes.
You can go to check out the show links on the top, bottom side, wherever they're showing up. There's a link there that you could sign up for the blood drive. That's April 19th from 11 to 3:30 at the Post.
We have our Easter egg hunt right after at 3:30. We are doing an Easter egg hunt.
Do we have an Easter bunny?
We do have an
Is it
Easter
Scott?
bunny. No. I will not divulge. It's not me.
I think Rick should do that. I think Rick should do it. Saturday the 5th, that's coming up, there's the Montgomery County Funky Junk Market and Boutique Crawl at the Lone Star Convention Center. That's, if you don't know where it's at, it's over on Airport Road. The 25th through Sunday the 27th, there is the Texas Mineral and Fossil Show for Conroe, also at the Convention Center. So those sound pretty interesting. I'm going to go out there and get an amethyst for Patriot. Anniversary's coming up.
That would be nice. She'd like
She
that.
likes those. You'll want to tune in for the next show, May 6th at 1 p.m. I'll be interviewing nationally recognized psychologist Dr. Michelle Sherman, PhD, ABDD, and whatnot, on her new book, Loving Someone with Mental Illness or History of Trauma, Skills, Hope, and Strength Through Your Journey. An interesting book, a good read. It's available on Kindle, if you'd like to get on Kindle, from Amazon. Because May, if you did not know, is National Trauma Awareness Month and Mental Health Awareness Month. I think I'm going to grab my daughter, Princess George, who's also a psychologist, and ask her for some wise words for that. That wraps up the show for today, and I want to leave you with this song from our friend Sailor Jerry called Hallelujah, the Veterans version. You can go download it from veteransair.us or on iTunes. And while we listen, let us remember our brothers and sisters in uniform that today are still standing in harm's way for our freedoms and our liberty. If you are wearing the uniform today, I want to tell you thank you. I want to tell you I'm proud of you. And until next time, stay safe and stay vigilant.
You packed your bags and shut the door. You crossed the sea to fight a war. You didn't know just what would happen to ya. Stepped in the dirt, boots on the ground, and gunfire was the only sound. And to yourself you whispered hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Every day and every night, you walk the walk, you fight the fight. You never saw the end in sight, now did ya? The days are washing a haze of red, the blood, the mud, too many dead. Your weary soul was crying hallelujah, hallelujah, Too late to help you hear a shot. You know you're in a deadly spot. You never thought the day would come, now did ya? Your brother falls down to the ground. The enemy is all around, and from your lips you scream a hallelujah. 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 You fought the fight till it was done. You have the strength to carry on. You thought it'd be much better back home, did ya? You try each day, keep pushing through, but the battle